Hello my doves. So today I wanted to talk to you guys about my education. As I'm sure you could probably guess, my stepfather had taken me out of public school whenever he started to try to control my life. Surprise, surprise, right? So in these situations, the abuser always wants to try and take the victim away from any outside influences, anybody who could possibly help the victim, anybody who could see different changes and things to be kind of be alerted to the fact that things are happening and things are changing and things are not right. So obviously taking me out of school was one of those things. It was one of his ways of trying to control the situation. So from 7th grade to graduation, I was actually homeschooled. He didn't do the teachings. He actually found a program in the main city here that did like a at-home kind of school style. So you would go in maybe like once a month or so, and you would turn in your assignments, and you would get more assignments, and those assignments that you turned in would be graded. I say graded because I never received an actual grade. I don't think I'm just going to tilt this down for my hand gestures, if you will. Because I don't recall ever receiving any actually grades on things, and I know that somebody couldn't have been grading my work because I didn't receive anything bad, but I know that I didn't understand it, and I know that I wasn't being taught the way that I should have been being taught. So a lot of things I didn't understand. I don't understand government. I really just don't. I was never really taught government because that's what you learn in high school. I don't understand math. Math makes no freaking sense to me, and that's probably a lot of people. It doesn't make a lot of sense to a lot of people, but yeah, no, I'm just completely lost on that. So a lot of different things I didn't learn in the right setting, and I had to kind of teach myself. So what they would do is they would give you these books, and you had to do chapters whatever through whatever before you came back, and there would be like, I don't even remember really, but so it was like a self-taught thing, which is stupid because if you don't know it, how can you teach yourself? But whatever, I digress. And then they had a graduation ceremony at the end of the year, like, you know, you graduated, and you got to walk with the people that were graduating with you. However, I didn't know any of them, obviously, because we didn't go to class together, and I did not want to walk. I thought it was so stupid. I was like, I didn't really do anything. I didn't earn this. I don't want to walk. I don't know these people, yada yada. But of course, to keep up appearances, we had to walk because my mom's parents hated the fact that we were homeschooled. I think out of this whole situation, my mom's grandparents knew immediately that something was wrong, and they tried. They really did. They tried to do everything they could, and they feel like... I'll do another video about my grandparents because I love them to pieces. They are my everything. I love them so much. Anyway, so they hated it, and so he made sure that we walked in the graduation for them, but essentially just to keep up appearances and be like, yeah, they were going to school. And I don't even remember why, like, I said I didn't want to go to school. I mean, I know I wasn't popular, and I know that my friends had moved away, the, like, 2 friends that I had, and I know I didn't get along with anybody there, but it's just kind of weird. Like, even before he came along, I was a little weirdo, and that's okay. Anyway, so I don't know. I don't know what the reason was that I gave them. I don't recall. I just know that we were taken out. My sister and I, well, my brother too, were taken out. So anyway, fast forward a couple of years. And I'm living with the woman who saved my life from previous videos, and she's there and she's convincing me to go to college, and I know what I want to do with my life, and yada yada yada, and I'm so scared to go to college because I'm so dumb and this, that, and the other thing, and she convinces me to go, and so I go and I get all signed up and stuff, and then they have you take a placement test to see where you are, because I didn't go straight from high school into college, so I had to take this placement test. Oh my god, I'm so sorry. I apologize. So I take this placement test and I rock it in English, but I was always really good at English. That was always my strong suit, as we can tell by my blogs. Just kidding. And my math, I remember being there, like, trying to take the test, and I was like, what the f... Like, I did not recognize any of it. I didn't understand any of it. I felt so stupid sitting there trying to take that stupid test. and it was just, I don't know. So I failed. I failed the test miserably, I'm sure. And then they were like, well, you can take it again. And I'm like, oh, no, do I really want to take it again? I don't think I do. So I didn't, because I knew it doesn't matter how many times I take it, I'm not going to get it. I've actually taken math, remedial math, mind you. I've taken it, this semester will be 4 times. This semester will be 4 times, yes. That's ridiculous. I failed it twice, and I tried to retake it, but I got kicked out of college because my GPA was so bad. Because I'm not the brightest cookie in the brightest cookie? Brightest star? Sweetest cookie in the box? Is there even a cookie in the box? Brightest star in the sky, as we can tell by my inability to say a metaphor. And so that was that. And then it's also really hard for me to go to college. It's really hard to sit there in a class with people that that are supposed to be your peers, and you're supposed to be understanding what's going on. And I really didn't. I really struggled. So my cat's been doing this really weird thing, and maybe you guys can help me out with this, but like she makes this really weird meow. I don't know, maybe she's going into heat, and that is not okay. Not okay. Anywho's or what's it's, so it's really hard for me to sit there with, you know, people who are supposed to be my peers, and I'm supposed to understand what they're understanding, and I feel so dumb and insecure whenever I can't. And I know that people have struggle, and people have problems understanding things, and I totally get that, but that's not me. Like, that's not, I'm an intelligent, bright person. Like, that's not me to not understand things. And I get angry whenever I think about the fact that it could have been so different for me, and I could have had much more opportunities. Not that I don't have any right now, because I have amazing opportunities right now, don't get me wrong, but it could have been so much different if he hadn't have happened to me. And I get angry about that, and I think that that's okay, and I think it's okay to complain about things like this occasionally. Of course, you have to get over it and adult, if you will. And you have to kind of like just get back into it or whatever. And it just freaking sucks. Like, I don't know, it's just hard. It's hard to sit there and go to a class whenever that's not what you're used to. You don't have that structure of going there and sitting in a classroom, which I love, actually. I love going to classes. I love learning, especially if it's a topic that I love, not math. But anything else, like, I love it. I loved English. I loved writing papers. I loved doing all that good stuff. I mean, it was definitely, you know, all that good stuff, but it just like, ugh, you know? I mean, and you know, I was lucky because even though I was homeschooled and I didn't have that experience interacting with people my own age and interacting with people in that kind of setting, I actually had a job where I was, you know, forced to interact socially with people and to adjust socially and to build relationships in a social environment. So, I mean, that definitely helped because, I mean, I work retail, so obviously you have to talk to people even when you don't want to. Even when they ask you stupid questions. And you're just like, no, there are no dumb questions. And who told people, I'm sorry, off topic, what teacher told somebody that there are no dumb questions? There are literally dumb questions. Literally, there are dumb questions. You should not ask the dumb questions. If you think in your head for a second, this is probably a dumb question, either start that way so we know that you know that it's a dumb question, or don't ask it at all. Anyway, side rant. I'm sorry, I just got off work and it was like a 12-hour day. It was pretty rough, so I do apologize. I'm a little whatever from that. But anyway, back to education. So where was I going with this? I have to look at my notes real quick. I do apologize. So I was lucky. So even though I was in that sheltered environment, because I had the job that I had, it made it a lot easier for me to adjust socially. And then also, you know, not starting out being homeschooled. Like, I started out going to public school, and then I was homeschooled, and then I just kind of like, there was a brief period of time there when I had to catch up to my age. And I think I've kind of done that for the most part. I definitely don't feel my age. I definitely feel younger. And that's okay. I think that's totally fine. I don't think that I've met somebody who's like, oh no, I totally feel my age. Maybe when they're older, but that's different. That's a different story. However, my youngest brother actually started out homeschool. Well, I think he went to school for maybe 1 year, and he didn't like it. I think. I don't remember. I know that he went for maybe 1 or 2 years, and then he was homeschooled, and then now he's in public school. And both of my brothers have graduated from high school. Well, not have. One brother has graduated from high school, the other one will graduate from high school, and I'm so proud of them, you guys. So proud. I'm like way off topic. I do apologize. Let me get back to where we were going here with this whole education nonsense. So it is hard to, to try to connect with kids my age. I say kids my age, but people my age, and to try and, especially group projects. Oh God, group projects are so freaking hard. And then in math, they were like, join a study group. I joined a study group. I felt like the dumbest person there, and I was the oldest person. That is the worst part, though, too, about college, is not everybody is the same age. So you're in the classes with people that are older than you, which is fantastic, cool. They don't want to hang out with me because I'm too young. Then I'm in a class with these young people, and I'm like, cool, we can do a study group, whatever, we're on the same level. No, I'm like further behind than they are, and I just have to pretend like I know. And I get so insecure, and I love my love for doing this, for getting so passionate about the things that he loves so much. But whenever he starts going into his, talks about science and technologies and politics and government and all this other stuff, I feel really, really bad, and I feel really dumb because I can't keep up with him. And it's not that he's just like on this rant of great, amazing things and I can't keep up. I can't keep up mentally because I don't understand those things, because government was never explained to me. And he tries, he does, but I don't tell him that I don't understand because I don't want him to think I'm dumb. How sad is that? And I know that he'll just love me no matter what, but still, it's just like, those are things that you should know. Those are things that should have been taught to you, that was taught to everybody else who went to school. It was taught to everybody else who went to homeschool, just not those who were homeschooled by a psychopath. So anyway, and I get angry whenever I think about how much of an impact that he's made on my life, which is why this video sounds so complainy, and I do apologize that it sounded complainy. That wasn't the intent whenever I started it, or whenever I started writing the post. That's just kind of how it went, and sometimes that happens, and I have to be okay with that. I have to be okay with the fact that sometimes things are going to come out as me complaining, and it's totally okay for me to complain, because we're allowed to feel how we feel, right? And I just get so angry whenever I think about what he did then. It still has an impact on my life now, and like the biggest thing that has made me like propel forward into the greatness that is the freedom that I have, and the ability to adjust to life and be this person that I am now, is that I don't want him to have that power over my life anymore, and yet he still does. Every time I see my GPA, I'm like, that motherfucker. Yeah, I said it. I apologize. I'll try to be better next time. I do want to take this time, I know the video is long, I apologize, but I do want to take this time to talk about this professor that I had. He'll never see this, he'll never hear it. He did pass away a couple of years ago, and he was the greatest professor, the greatest teacher I've probably had in my entire life. He really was very passionate about U.S. history, and that is probably the only subject that I do understand very well, because he made me understand it very well. He definitely was an amazing professor. He was there for me in my lowest of lows. He understood when it was just a struggle to get to class. I went to his class. He taught History Part 1 and History Part 2, and I went to his class, and during History Part 1 was whenever I first started going to see my therapist. That was whenever everything was happening, and it was so dramatic and so depressing, and it was just a struggle to get to class. And he was there, and he pushed me, and he made me understand, and he was just a really great professor. I think there should be more professors out there like that. I think that people should take the time to understand that sometimes just waking up, just getting out of bed is the biggest battle that person has to fight that day. And if you make it out of bed, my friends, if that is the biggest battle that you have fought that day, and you make it out of bed, you're winning. And I am so proud of you. And I don't care what anybody says, because sometimes just rolling over, moving the blanket, and putting your foot on the ground is the hardest thing you can do that day. And I commend you for doing it every day of your life. Somebody told me that once, and that was just like waterworks, and I was like, oh my god, it's not that big of a deal. But it is that big of a deal, and for that person to understand it and to really drive that home to me was amazing. Of course, that was the woman who saved my life. Of course. Who else could it be? Way off topic. So, you know, my GPA is not where I need it to be, not where I want it to be, not where it should be. I'm in remedial math for like the 4th time. Maybe I'll pass it this time. Maybe. We'll see. It will take me forever to reach my goals. It will take me forever to get my degree, but I'm gonna fucking get it. You best believe I'm gonna get my degree. You best believe I'm gonna change this world. You best believe this won't be a topic that can't be talked about anymore. I'm gonna change that. And you know, that is the most empowering thing about this all. Because what happened to me isn't me. It isn't my life. It happened to me and it sucked. And it was terrible. And I would never wish that on even my worst of enemies. Not even them. I would actually wish it upon him though. I feel like that should be, that's what should happen to molesters and rapists, is that they should go and be molested and raped by somebody else. I know that that sounds like really terrible and it's not a good thing to say, and obviously I don't wish that upon them, but yeah, no, that's what I really feel like that's what should happen for the rest of their life. That's what hell should be like for them for the rest of their lives. That's what hell should be like. All of that. I will be who I want to be. And you, sir, have no power over that. And you, sir, you tried to break me. And you did for a while. You did for a little while. But guess what? I'm a fucking warrior. And it ain't gonna happen today. No, sir. No, sorry, Bob. My education is getting better. Slowly but surely. I will get my degree. And you can't take that away from me. And that, my friends, is what I'm gonna leave you with. Actually, I don't want this story, you know, I want this story to show you guys that it is okay to get down sometimes. It is okay to be angry about things. It is okay to complain about things. It's totally okay, totally acceptable. But you do have to get back up and you have to take back your light. You can't let them have it, okay? You have to remember that whatever happened to you is not the end. It's not the end all be all of you. You are so much more than that. And you can achieve so much more. You just have to give yourself the chance. And you have to fight for it. You know? You have the key to your own destiny. And as cheesy as that sounds, because I know that sounds like super cheesy, but it's true. It is so true. You know, what happened to you doesn't have to be the end. What happened to you isn't you. You just have to, overcome it. Do y'all hear that? That's the littlest one. He's telling me I've been on here too long. I do apologize. So, I wish you nothing but knowledge, health, and a happy life. And until next time, goodbye, my doves. And I will try not to be so ranty and complaining next time. Again, I say I try. I try to be a better person. It's really what happens. Anyway, y'all have a good night. I'll see you later.